Howdy folks, I'm Keith Bowen. This is Hard Rock University. That is Dave's mine. And that is Dave and Eva and Sherry. So we're gonna spend the weekend checking this out here, sampling and such. Fairly easy location to get to. Someplace new, and the weather should be improving. The snow should be over now. It'll get warmer as time goes on. Snow just makes things a little bit annoying. So let's get down there and see what we got. Well, this is something new. I think it's a good indication that the season should be at an end here. The door is literally frozen shut. It's ice right there. And can't move the door. So the doorknob turns, but the latch ain't moving because I need to take the tension off it. So I'm going to have to work on unfreezing the door. Isn't that special? Well, we got the door open, and I'm now cooking breakfast here to kind of get extra heat. We have a soda up there because we normally keep them right down there, and when Eva opened the last one, it froze instantly. So.
What do they call that? Supercrystallization? Ice foam? This is a word.
Yeah, something like that. It's super cooled. And Eva wanted me to.
The goddess. In all her blinged glory.
And
note that I'm about to get dripped on by the frosted screws over my head. That person back there,
the one holding the camera?
the one holding the camera, tried to tell the goddess before he discovered the door was frozen shut that it hadn't gotten any colder since 5:30 this morning.
Well, it hasn't gotten colder in here.
Uh-huh, that's why there's frost where there was not frost before.
Well, the screws have gotten colder because they're into some steel that goes through the roof structure. Can you imagine if there wasn't 1.5 inches of styrofoam between the screws?
Oh, you just keep making those noises. I'm telling you, it got colder in here. You don't believe me.
Okay, oh, it's about time for breakfast here. We'll be back. Okay, let's go down here and take a look at stuff. Oh my goodness. Not much room here. Now Dave's been doing all of this by himself. So, you know, it's tough to move all these timbers, get them in place and do this kind of thing all by yourself. So he didn't take the time to dig this out. Understandably, I mean, that's a lot of work, and he was mainly working just getting some access. So let's get down where he's finished the timbering. Slide down here. You get this, what you would consider high grade. We got a lot of iron in there, and this is a schist. It's metamorphic rock. It's a mess. It's been jumbled and broken up and injected, altered, everything. So as you can see, you don't have a clear-cut vein here like you do in many mines. You got kind of an alteration zone, and there's stuff that's injected. This is not uncommon at all. You could call this a mineralized zone, or maybe even what they call a stringer vein, where it has all these little stringers in it. You can see they're different colors too. Different solutions at different times under different conditions deposit different things. Look at the difference right here, just in this little area here. So what does that run? It's a mess. It's an average is all you're going to get. So it becomes a complex sampling problem and can become very expensive. The nice thing is that you've got access to a lot of bedrock here. One of the problems is there have been pack rats here in the past, and so the floor can have cactus stickers in it, which is highly undesirable. So it'd be a lot easier if this height was a little more. That takes a lot of work. And is it worth it? Don't know yet. If this whole area runs mineable grade, which I think it would for a heap leach, you don't really need to bother too much. You just start digging with heavy equipment. But right now we're trying to look and get a good idea what they were doing. So it looks like the old timers were following this structure. You can see how it seems fairly continuous down there, this mineralized zone. There was a plane of breakage here that got altered and filled and stuff like that. And now, let's see what else. Again, this allows us to look inside the bedrock. We can see they thought that was good. And according to the samples, this isn't that great here. Okay? It's everything you see has got gold in it. But this is not mineable grade for the kind of scale that Dave can operate at. Now here we've got a cross cut. Again, this allows you to sample this and get a good idea what the rock actually is. Just like you're drilling, but a much larger drill hole. This is old timer stuff here. Ouch. A little slippery there. Now you're getting a lot less of that apparent mineralization. This looks like relatively unaltered wall rock, but then you see pockets like that in it. Again, this is the sort of stuff that is very likely to run ore grade in bulk, but only for an open pit heap leach type operation. There's something in there. Looks like pretty good color. This is put up by the old timers, and it's kind of hard to tell why. My guess is simply that that rock right there was loose enough that they didn't trust it, and they just wanted to support it, especially at an intersection. Wherever you got an intersection, you have less ground support, less natural ground support. So put in more unnatural ground support. And Dave went back to town to sleep at his house tonight. He'll be out here in a little bit. And what we'll do is we'll drill and mount these lights to the wall here and mark things in order to make life a lot easier in terms of mapping and sampling, we'll take a tape measure, bring it all the way down, attach it to a reference point at surface, bring it all the way down here, and mark the walls at regular intervals with marking paint. That is what I mean by the pack rats. You got this. You got a little stub there where they stopped. I think they found some stuff that got them interested here, and they started actually mining. Because now you've got a lot of workings close together. This looks like what you would call room and pillar mining. Although the term room doesn't necessarily sound accurate to most people, more like tunnel and pillar. These would be the pillars here, and this would be a room. That may have fallen over the ears there. See, they found something here that they followed a little bit. Notice how broken this is. See how they're putting in ground support? This was a broken up zone, and they seem to like it. But that is not the kind of stuff that's real secure. Easy to catch up with modern mining techniques, with rock bolts and chain link. Not as easy with timbers, but you can see just the natural fracturing in the rock makes this very unstable. So you have to use caution. This rock is also pretty soft. We were back here yesterday taking a sample. So you've got this, again, it just keeps changing. It's not steady anything. I picked this spot. We have like a mineralized stuff here, a relatively unmineralized material here, and then more mineralized, fairly wide, fairly easy. So I took a channel sample through here into 3 samples, collected it in that, put it in a bucket, and took it out. And we didn't have any, well, I put the various bags in a bucket. We did not have a way to really crush the ore, pulverize it. So we just tried panning it as is. None of them really showed anything in the way of gold. We can see a couple specks hither and thither. I think it was this one here. Showed a lot of heavy minerals compared to that one there, if I recall. I wrote down the results on the bags. That's a good way to do it, especially in the field, because it keeps all the information that you have with the sample that you have. And so if you take it back to your base of operations and do more crushing and stuff, then it becomes a whole lot easier to recover all the data, keep it correlated with the particular samples. Like, for example, if you take stuff to a geologist and have him look at it and this and that and the other, well, there's the bag, there's the information, blah, blah, blah. You crush it, put it back in the bag, take a split, send it off for assay, etc. And because I didn't get too much, what I'm going to do is take a sample from a known high-grade area and pan it later once Dave shows up. Right now I have no ability to pan because all the water has frozen. Clearly there was something back here. Now, why they blocked that off, don't know. Could just be they were what they call gobbing that material. And we're just using it for backfill to keep from hauling it out to surface and maybe getting more brown support. Looks like they stacked it in there pretty tight. So we shall see. Anyhow, let me get back towards surface and wait for Dave to show up. Then we'll start laying in our coordinate grid, etc. So let me turn this off so I can use both hands to climb back up again. So, underground we can see it's a mess. Virtually everything has gold in it, although much of it is well below decent underground grade even for a large mine. But if this area here is low-grade ore, and indications are it is, both historical and preliminary investigations here, then the possibilities are, if that area up there is not sitting on top of ore, it would be easy to turn that into a fairly large leach pad and still have good drainage control. You'd have a drainage channel here, a drainage channel on the far side, and then you'd cut a drainage channel across there to prevent the stuff coming off of the hill. So you'd have a large area there that you could stack ore very close by. The historical data indicates the water table here is about 100 feet and it's abundant. As a matter of fact, other mines in the area, you can see there's one there, and there, and there, and there, and there, and there, you know. But areas, the mines in this area here, there's one over there that's fairly substantial. Their big problem of getting to depth was water. They had to pump a lot of water to keep the the miners breathing oxygen instead of dihydrogen monoxide. So anyhow, water should be abundant. There's area for a leach pad without too much trouble. There's other mining companies exploring here. What I would recommend to Dave is to thoroughly sample this and examine it and operate it on a hobby basis for now. And once he's done the thorough exploration, he seems to like it and everything, and that's great. But what you need to do now is get an idea of what you got. And I'd be doing sampling in these drainages, you know, sampling the wall rock there and getting an idea what you got, because you might be able to make a lot more money selling or leasing this than actually operating it if he wanted to get out of it sometimes later or just cash it out. For now, it looks like he enjoys the hobby prospect of it, and but it's got good potential for things. If the rules change to where life is a lot easier to permit stuff like that, you could set up a heap leach and a mill right here. Certainly physically doable. Everything you need is physically here to mill. You got water, you got land. You don't have steep hillsides that are difficult to build on. This is not. So it's a fairly good setup if the permitting situation in a third world country where you don't have the permitting issues. This would be piece of cake. Okay, just a piece of cake. So from out here in frozen Montana, happy prospecting and keep it safe out there.